Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC 265, and in the featured fight on the pay-per-view card, we have Michael Chiesa versus Vicente Luque, and this is going to be my full breakdown and prediction for that fight. If you guys are interested in my other predictions for this card, I'll put the links in the description. I've already done a prediction video for Jose Aldo versus Pedro Munoz, as well as Cyril Gane versus Derek Lewis, so make sure you guys go check those out as well. And do me a favor, if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure to like the video. It really helps support the channel. So, Michael Chiesa versus Vicente Luque. This is a fight that's kind of a rarity in the welterweight division. We're finally seeing two top-ranked welterweight fighters actually fighting each other, which if you followed my channel for a while, you've heard me complain about this. It seems like none of the top-ranked welterweight guys want to fight each other, and it was getting a little bit annoying. And finally, the last month or so, we finally got Gilbert Burns versus Wonderboy Thompson, and now we're getting Chiesa versus Luque. So I'm finally excited to see some of these top-ranked guys actually fight each other, because it's such a rarity to have a champion in Kamaru Usman who's the most active guy in the top 10. It's literally crazy. It's so rare. And finally, the UFC is kind of forcing some of these guys to actually fight each other so we can see who might be potentially next in line for a title fight. Colby Covington's fighting Usman at UFC 268 in November, so we'll get a little bit of clarity there, and then we'll kind of, we can go from there and see who's next in line. You have Leon Edwards waiting out there. But this Vicente Luque versus Chiesa fight is a very important fight in the division. You have Luque, who's currently ranked number 6. You have Chiesa, who's currently ranked number 5. And this fight is an exciting matchup because it's your typical striker versus grappler matchup. And I love these types of matchups. You have Vicente Luque. He's a guy who always wants to keep the fight on the feet for the most part. And you have Michael Chiesa, who we know what his game plan is. Come in and take you down. And you have a guy like Luque, who has been in so many great fights. I mean, his last fight was against Tyron Woodley, and it was just a spectacular back-and-forth fight. Woodley rocked him, then he hurt Woodley and just went in for the kill. He's super technical on the feet. And if you look back over Vicente Luque's resume, he's kind of in a weird spot because I consider him an elite welterweight fighter, but his best win is against Tyron Woodley, and we know, that kind of hasn't aged too well. Even at the time, he was already on a 3-fight skid. So it's kind of hard, you look at that Woodley win, you look where Woodley's at now, no longer in the UFC, and it's kind of hard to give him, full credit for that Woodley win. That's not the champion Woodley we once knew. And then if you look over Vicente Luque's record, he has some decent wins. He has a win over Mike Perry, he has a win over Nico Price. But, when he's really taken that step up in competition or fought guys who we know are elite fighters, he's lost. He fought Wonderboy back in 2019 and lost. He fought Leon Edwards back in 2017 and lost. So we see when he gets these kind of step ups, he ends up losing. And not that Michael Chiesa is a step up. I think that this is a perfect matchup for both guys. We've seen in Vicente Luque's history, against Wonderboy and Leon, he fights these guys we know are elite and he loses. So I'm curious, this is going to be a fight, that if he beats Michael Chiesa, number 5 ranked guy in the world, this is going to be a big win for him. So we have to see if he's able to pull that off. And we know, that Michael Chiesa is going to be a guy that's going to come in and try to take him down. Michael Chiesa is currently on a 4-fight win streak. Also, I wanted to mention both guys have identical reach. Michael Chiesa is a little bit taller than Luque, but I don't think that really should be a factor. It's a 2-inch height advantage. And I think the way this fight is going to play out is Michael Chiesa is going to come in and try to grab Luque and take him to the ground. And I just don't know if he's going to be able to do that. And if he doesn't do that, it's going to be a long night for Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa is a guy who's best when he takes you down and he's on top of you. You look at his most recent fights, Neil Magny smothered him for all 5 rounds. That was a main event back in January. He took him down and smothered him pretty much every single round. Then you look at the fight before that, RDA. Similar scenario. He took RDA down. He smothered him. He pushed him against the cage, just clinched up with him and just smothered him out. And that's exactly what he's going to try to do to Luque. He did it to Diego Sanchez before that and Carlos Condit before that and submitted Carlos Condit. But again, here you go again. You look at Michael Chiesa's resume, and when he's taken a little bit of a step up in competition or fought somebody, we know is elite, he's lost. Back in 2017, he was finished by Kevin Lee. Back in 2018, finished by Anthony Pettis. And these guys are good guys, but they're not like the elite of the elite, like the people, that Luque has lost to in Wonderboy and Leon. And I know Michael Chiesa has spent the majority of his career at lightweight, and he moved up to welterweight, and he's had some good success at welterweight. He's on a 4-fight winning streak at welterweight right now. Carlos Condit, Diego Sanchez, RDA, Neil Magny, all the guys I just mentioned. But his best win is RDA. And I love RDA. I think RDA is a great fighter. But I just feel like he's undersized for welterweight. I know Chiesa also went up. He was a lightweight. But I just feel like Chiesa is just naturally the bigger guy than RDA. RDA has since moved down to lightweight. But still, that's a quality win by Michael Chiesa. But I just don't know. In this fight, he's not going to have a size advantage. Vicente Luque, I think, is about the same size as Michael Chiesa, maybe even a little bit bigger. It's really hard to tell at this point in time. But I just don't know if he's going to be able to use his typical game plan to go in, clinch up with the guy, drag him to the ground, and beat him up on the ground and look for the submission. Vicente Luque is a guy who has not lost since Stephen Wonderboy Thompson back in 2019. And even when you look on his record, as far as submission losses, which Michael Chiesa loves looking for the submission, he lost twice by submission, but it was very early on in his career. So even if Michael Chiesa is able to get him down, I just don't know if he's going to be able to work in a submission on Vicente Luque. We even seen Vicente Luque's submission skills against Woodley, be it that Woodley was rocked terribly, but, we've seen he has some decent jiu-jitsu. We've seen it in the past from Luque. And I just don't think, even if Chiesa is able to get Luque down, I just don't know if he's going to be able to submit him or finish him. So my prediction for this fight, I am going to go with Vicente Luque by decision. Michael Chiesa is a super durable guy. I just don't know if Vicente Luque is going to be able to land that kill shot and TKO, KO Michael Chiesa. He's so tough. He's so durable. I don't think he's ever been finished by KO or TKO. Let me just check real quick. So technically he has one TKO loss, and that was by doctor stoppage. I don't remember that fight too well against Joe Lozon. But he's never been, really KO'd or finished, like you would think. And I just don't think it's going to happen against Vicente Luque. But the way I see the fight playing out, Vicente Luque is a guy that has super technical striking. We've seen it even in the Wonderboy fight. Wonderboy has excellent striking, some of the best in the division. And Vicente Luque arguably possibly won that first round. It was a close first round. I know eventually he got battered, but Wonderboy is Wonderboy. You know what I mean? You can't really knock Luque for losing that fight against Wonderboy. And just Vicente Luque's striking is so crisp and technical. And you have a guy like Michael Chiesa who his entries are very, very sloppy. He's constantly looking for that clinch. He's constantly looking for that takedown. And the way he moves in is pretty sloppy. Even in the fight against Neil Magny in early January, in that first round, I remember, it wasn't really hard shots, but he got clipped up by Neil Magny quite a few times. And if Neil Magny, no knock on Neil Magny. Neil Magny's a very good, well-rounded fighter. But Vicente Luque is levels above of Neil Magny in the striking department. And I just think that Luque is in another league as far as the striking goes when you look at Michael Chiesa's striking, because his striking is terrible. He looks uncomfortable on the feet. Michael Chiesa looks uncomfortable on the feet. He definitely needs to work on it. Maybe we'll see a drastic improvement in this fight. But I find it hard to believe that all of a sudden Michael Chiesa is going to come out and look like a world beater on the feet. I just think, this fight's going to consist of Chiesa trying to close the distance. You're going to have Luque chopping the legs, kicking the body, using front kicks to the body to manage the distance. And then also, Chiesa is going to be moving in, and he's going to be moving in sloppy. He's going to be moving in a little bit reckless because he's so desperate for those takedowns. And I think Vicente Luque is really going to be able to counter him quite a bit. I think he's going to beat him up. I think he's going to batter him. I think Michael Chiesa is really going to be beat up by the end of this fight. But I think Michael Chiesa is going to be in it, all 3 rounds. I think he's going to survive to a decision. And I just think, for most of the fight, he's just going to be getting beat up. There might be some early scrambles, maybe in that first round where Chiesa's maybe able to work a little bit of a takedown. But I just don't believe, Vicente Luque, even if he is caught up in a bad position, I think he'll be able to work his way out of it. I think he'll be able to find his way back to his feet because Chiesa is just a guy that, he's fought some decent competition, but I don't feel like he's really fought anyone on the same level as Vicente Luque. And we even seen, and I know this isn't the greatest example, somebody's probably going to comment and tell me that's a terrible example, but we even seen Vicente Luque. Woodley try to engage in the clinch, try to engage in the wrestling. And Woodley has, contrary to popular belief, he fought killers and lost to Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington, and Kamaru Usman. But Woodley has some decent wrestling. Woodley has some decent offensive takedowns. And Luque showed in that fight that he was able to stuff Woodley. And Woodley was throwing power to really set up those shots, and he had some decent explosive shots. And Luque was able to fend those off. And I just think Luque will be able to do something similar in this Chiesa fight. And as Chiesa gets tired and as the takedowns get more desperate, I think Vicente Luque is just going to batter him more and more and more. And I just think, it's going to be a fight where Chiesa's spamming the takedowns, skinning up his knees, looking for double legs, looking for trips. And I just don't think he's going to be successful. Maybe he gets one or two, but I just don't see him really being able to. He's shown in the past, and he has great top game. He's great top pressure. He's very strong on top. But I just don't think, even if he gets Luque down there, I don't think he's going to be able to dominate him like he's done a Diego Sanchez or a Neil Magny. Luque is on a different level, in my opinion. And I just think the striking differential is so vast that I just can't pick Michael Chiesa in this fight. I picked Michael Chiesa in his Neil Magny fight, but I just don't see him winning this fight. I just don't see how he does it, other than taking Luque down and holding him down, because there's no way he's going to be able to outstrike Luque on the feet. It's just not happening. It's just one of those things where, again, striker versus grappler. Chiesa has to get him down. He has to hold him down. And Chiesa likes working the submissions, but even if somehow Chiesa is able to take him down and hold him down, I just don't even believe he's going to be able to get a decision. So if Chiesa wins this fight, I see him winning by decision himself as well. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the fight's going to be contested on the feet. I think Vicente Luque is going to show that he has great takedown defense. And I think he's really going to batter Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa just has a lot to, improve on when it comes to stand-up. And Vicente Luque is just so technical. He has great kicks, great punches. The way he finished Woodley, he was in deep, deep trouble. He got caught with a big right hand by Woodley, and he was able to recover and then rock Woodley. And then also, he wasn't too careless. He looks for his kill shots. He really walked Woodley down, and he picked his shots very, very well. And, looked for the finish, eventually hurt Woodley, dropped him, and went for the Darce choke. And, I just think, being the massive advantage for Luque in the striking department, I just don't see how Chiesa is going to be able to beat him. And that's why I say Vicente Luque by decision. I think he's going to win all 3 rounds. If Chiesa gets around, I think it'll be round 1. But I think as Luque starts to stuff the takedowns, I think just those takedown attempts are going to become more labored. Chiesa is going to be more exhausted. And I just think it's going to be an ugly night for Michael Chiesa. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Are you picking Chiesa? Are you picking Luque? I'm genuinely curious. Also, do me a favor, like the video. I really appreciate it. Help support the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.